Welcome to the grand reopening of the Hoop Bar. It feels great to be back. We have Rahul here. Rahul, how have you been?
Good to see all your wonderful faces, especially Amit with that fresh cut, and David Briggs, who I will introduce here in a second. Actually, I can do it now, Matt. So David is a longtime friend, somebody I've known since back in the day at Mayfair High School. And so this is just a good way for me, just like it was when I reached out to Amit when I moved, to stay in touch. And so this is a good way for me to have a weekly engagement with David as well if he's able to join. So Tony's still part of the show as well. Tony will come in and out as he always does, but hopefully David can be an ongoing staple. So welcome, David. He has a lot of basketball. He's played a lot of basketball with us. He's been on all the fantasy basketball teams. He's won a lot of fantasy basketball championships. And if you win those, it does take knowledge of basketball to win those for sure. And so David, welcome. I appreciate you coming on.
I'm excited to be here. I've been watching you guys' podcast or listening to it for a while now, so I'm glad to give my input and just from a fan of basketball. So looking forward to the discussions here.
David, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your background, who got you into basketball, and why do you love it?
How I got into basketball is from a barbershop. I was probably like 5, 6 years old, and they used to have Laker stuff all over. So naturally, going to the barbershop, I always saw Laker stuff. So I just associated myself with Lakers basketball, and that's from the 80s. And then, the school playground, that's where it started. Next thing, I played at the parks. Never played, organized like basketball or anything, just always like street ball. And then I've been a Laker fan probably since watching the games and understanding the games probably since like 94. So my NBA fan started there.
The Ganz is back. How are you, Ganz?
The Ganz is fantastic. I'm happy to be back talking with y'all. I got plenty of Ganz high school flashbacks, Ganz visions. I've been getting a lot of visions lately, so I'm glad to be here to share some of that with you guys. Happy to talk parlays, bets. Let's go.
The NBA offseason is almost over, with teams reporting to training camp in a couple of weeks. Damian Lillard is still a Blazer, as the Miami Heat and Portland Trail Blazers were unable to come to a trade agreement for the All-Star guard. James Harden is still a 76er, even after a report that he wanted to be traded to the Clippers. Outside of these two potential moves, there were a number of major transactions that occurred. Let's start off with David. What was your favorite move of this past offseason?
I want to say just all the new pieces the Lakers got, not being biased or anything, but I just felt like from how we started last season to how we're going to start this season is going to be a big difference. So my favorite out of those, I want to say probably Wood. He has the potential to be a big move for us. So hopefully he does big things for us.
But I think what they did by adding Marcus Smart as well as Derrick Rose, that gives them two guys that they're missing in that locker room. I think that's a big win for them. And ironically enough, and we'll get into this, the Celtics got rid of Marcus Smart for the same reason the Grizzlies got Marcus Smart. I get the feeling the Celtics wanted to free up that locker room so that the other two guys, Brown and Tatum, can have more of a voice. Whereas the Grizzlies needed a guy like Smart and Derrick Rose to, hey, quiet the kids down. Look, listen, pay attention. If you want to get anywhere, you got to take this seriously. So that's the Grizzlies. I think that's a big win for me in the West.
All right, for me, it's Christian Wood, and hands down. And we could talk about his criticism, but let's talk about the good stuff first. 16 points a game last season, 18 points the season before, 21 points in the 2021 season. But you'll see a minutes reduction in each season, so it kind of justifies why he's having less points. Also with that, the kid shoots over 50% field goals, and he averages 2 out of 3 last seasons. He averaged 10 rebounds a game. Not to mention, if he needs to shoot the 3, he's 37 to 39%. Most of all, welcome home. He's a Long Beach kid. Like, who doesn't like being home? And I want to say that because he's had attitude issues. Stuff's been brought up in the past, but you took him from a team with the Rockets that had some stars to pretty much scrubs. He just likes to win. This is gonna be my first Ganz high school flashback. It's like when you're playing junior varsity basketball. It doesn't matter. Not as much as when you play, that Friday night game where everyone comes, or the cheerleaders are there and they're rooting for you and everything's on the line. I just think he was playing with a JV squad. And now that he's playing with LeBron, I think he's going to step up. The only challenge I see is, like I said, defense. He does need to work on that. And I'll say this, even when he was challenged on the Mavericks, Jason Kidd said, hey, I need more defense. What did he do? He averaged 2 blocks a game for like 3 weeks straight until he had the thumb injury. Then when he got the injury, he was on the trading block. So the attitude issue started again. But I just think, he's been treated like a battered woman, and he's just looking to go home to a good husband or wife that's going to treat him right. And I think he'll do really well for the Lakers.
Yeah, and right under that signing, forgot to mention, and Matt, probably you have it on yours, is Jackson Hayes. That's huge. Like, Jackson Hayes is a great signing for whenever you feel like Anthony Davis is in foul trouble or hurt, or Christian Wood isn't doing what, defensively what you want him to do. But even though he's capable, just like the Gaunt said. So I'm excited for that front court with LeBron as well, and Rui from last year. Oh, Rui. It's a great front court.
Yeah, I like
All
that.
right,
Anthony Davis get the opportunity to go back to power forward when he wants
That's
to.
what he wants.
But for the most part, we know he's gonna play center.
Yeah, outside of Wood and outside of Jackson Hayes, David, who do you else out of the Lakers' moves? Which other ones did you like the best?
Well, the extensions, everybody got extended. Austin Reaves, that's a fan favorite right there. Watching him in what do you call it, the World Cup, that was pretty exciting just to see him be the second option and get that opportunity. So hopefully this season he gets more opportunity to show what he can prove.
Now, I went a little bit different. Instead of Laker country, I actually went with the rivals. I hate to say it, FTC, we're bringing that back. I chose Kristaps Porzingis to the Celtics. I know you mentioned that in your Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies, but Kristaps Porzingis is really, really good. 39% from 3 last season. Actually, he's really underrated on defense. So a lot of people don't know about. I know he gets the whole health stuff, but you do have Al Horford, you do have Robert Williams, Time Lord, backing him up. So even if he does have to miss some games, you still have those guys there. He's also going to be spelling Horford. He's older now. He's in his late 30s, so you need a guy inside that can kind of give him a rest, plus also space the floor. Yes, they're going to have trouble with replacing Marcus Smart and replacing Grant Williams, but Brogdon and White did prove last year, at least especially White did prove last year that he can be the lead guard for the Celtics. And like I said, Porzingis has been the healthiest he's been all since New York. I think this will set them up to win the Eastern Conference, but we'll get to there in a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna add this. Al Horford ain't gonna play this season. He's done. He's what Iguodala is to the Golden State Warriors. So I don't agree that he's gonna be impactful, other than maybe a leadership role with the Boston Celtics. But we'll see. I don't think he's quite a Haslam yet, but I think he's pretty much on his way out.
Let's move on. Let's talk about some Western Conference. The NBA champion Denver Nuggets are looking to repeat this upcoming season. But even though they lost role players Bruce Brown and Jeff Green, they are primed to be top 3 in the West. The Lakers retooled, and the Suns have a legit big 3 with Ayton as their big man. It looks like it's going to be those three teams are going to be the top 3 teams in the West. Outside of the Lakers, Nuggets, and Suns, who is the next best team in the Western Conference and why? Let's start with the Gons.
All right, man, I'm choosing the Warriors. And I'll tell you why. Of course, I think the Lakers are all those 3 teams that you mentioned, obviously. But along the stars here, they just got a great coaching staff. And they're not just like, if you look at the Phoenix Suns, right? Their bench is a little weak defensively and just overall. You could say Eric Gordon's a little washed. He's there. You got Gary Payton II, who's great on defense. You got Kuminga. Kuminga's an up-and-comer. I know you guys watched him. I know Curry didn't play him, but that dude can ball. J. Michael Green, he's a legit baller. Throw in us. We don't have to count Corey Joseph, but Kevin Looney gets some quality minutes. And then you got Clay, Sark, and Wiggins. And then don't forget about Draymond, Steph, and Clay. Like, they're stacked. So they would be my pick.
Did you mention Chris Paul or not?
No, I didn't even mention Chris Paul.
There you go. See, I was waiting for you to get there with Chris Paul, like integrating Chris
Honestly,
Paul into
Chris
that
Paul's
system.
been so disappointing to me. It's like I want to throw him in there, and I know he's going to do the leadership, but I just know he's not going to be around for playoffs. He's like Harden, except he gets hurt. You know, Harden just doesn't show up. So, I'm getting he's going to help, but I just think this team is stacked, and I don't even think they need the leadership of Chris Paul. Honestly, maybe the pressure of him having so many other players will keep him from getting injured. It could be the recipe. You know what I mean? Other teams have put a lot of pressure on him to take the toll. You may not have to this season.
I would have to go with the Grizzlies mentioned just because of the additions of Marcus Smart, but then the team out west here in my city right now, which is the Dallas Mavericks, re-signing Kyrie Irving with Grant Williams coming on as well. I think there was also another signing with Seth Curry. That's huge. So Seth Curry, Grant Williams, and Kyrie Irving coming back. And I don't know, Luka does this every year, but every offseason, like you see these videos of him working out, looking great in shape. And then he's about a month in and then things change, right? I don't know if it'll stay, but based on what we're seeing this summer again, he looks really good. He played in FIBA. So I want to say that those two teams are my favorites over the Warriors. And I'll tell you why the Warriors. I mean, I think the Warriors are going to be solid. I'm worried about the integration of Chris Paul, because I just don't understand how Chris Paul, who demands respect, rightfully so, what role does he have in a team with Steph Curry and the style that they play, and Chris Paul, who probably can't go more than 10 miles an hour. I mean, I just don't understand why that was there. It felt like the D'Angelo Russell signing, where he's there for cap reasons or some other asset reasons that they want to get rid of him eventually. And I don't think that Chris Paul will be on the Warriors by the end of the year. Not because of injury. I think he'll be traded for something else. It never made sense. Despite him, like the Ganz said, if he's not there, they could still do well. But I think having him there is going to be a problem, like Russell Westbrook was for the Lakers.
I mean, he's a good backup. Like, if Steph gets hurt or something goes down, who else is going to be your backup point guard on the current roster now?
He's going to have to be, that old body is going to have to run up and down and hopefully stay healthy. And
he can still throw dimes, and he has plenty of scorers on that team.
I'm talking about health. I'm talking about health. It's just about health. How are you going to run
as many minutes?
No.
All right, David, jump in there. What do you think about Chris Paul and the Warriors?
Well, my pick is the Warriors also, so I'm pro Chris Paul. I think he'll be a leader more for the second unit, and also to help the bigs. Looney and Kuminga, they haven't really showed out as much as they could, so he can be a great asset to them. And he's a leader, and in the limited minutes, I think that will help him get to the playoffs. Hopefully, I'm rooting for him to make it all the way this time.
I mean,
all right, so you're picking the Warriors.
The lob piece is a good point. Sorry. I said the lob piece is, I know that seems like very trivial little, but it's not, because imagine just how many plays it opens up by having somebody who's literally the pick and roll master of our time outside of John Stockton. So I get that, but I still don't see how, if he fits in with just having like he's going to be always on the bench. He's a Steph Curry.
Yeah,
but you said if Steph Curry gets hurt, then what happens?
He could still be a starter.
But he could be a starter. But how old is he?
But let's look at his stats. How old is LeBron? You want to go to the age game? How old is? I mean, age doesn't matter these days.
No, you said it yourself. Your first point was that, hey, he's gonna get hurt by the end of the playoffs. You said that. I didn't say that.
There's a chance. There is a good chance based on his
chance.
I ain't gonna lie. He does. It's not like LeBron.
I didn't say that. That's all I'm saying. You're asking him to fill in minutes.
Chance.
There's a chance he'll be hurt.
90% chance. Anyway, so I don't know how he'll integrate. That's all. That was my point. I think you guys both bring up good points on how he might. But let's see. I mean, Westbrook didn't work for the Lakers. He's an older player. He demands respect. That's all I'm saying, that there's always kind of politics involved in that. But the Warriors, the one thing they're good about is like not holding back. Like LeBron plays nice sometimes, right? Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, those guys, Draymond Green, they're going to call it like it is, right? And so Chris Paul is going to have to accept things if that's even a problem. So
they might have Dwight Howard on their team.
Oh yeah, and that's a big exactly. So to your point and to like the pick and roll aspect, Dwight Howard. Oh, that's with Chris Paul as a pick and roll. Doesn't matter what year it is, it'll work.
It was supposed to happen years ago with Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Veto.
I'm actually going to agree with Rahul with regards to the Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks, it's addition by subtraction. If we're as Laker fans, we know that with Russell Westbrook, you get him off the team because the vibes aren't quite right. And now let's see what's going to happen with the Grizzlies. Adding Marcus Smart is I guess smart, because then you're bringing in veteran presence and you're not and still as a good perimeter defender. Not I would say even better than Dylan Brooks, honestly, as a point of attack defender. So Memphis Grizzlies, with if John Moran's able to get better, get a midi, get a consistent point of attack, a pull up 3-pointer, and also get his head right, because of the crowd he was keeping was not great. So if John Morant and Desmond Bane, Triple J take another step up in their development, the Grizzlies can be a top 4 team in the West. I think they're going to be number 4. So I agree with the rule. Any thoughts on the Grizzlies, David?
No, I agree with you guys. It was a great addition for Marcus Smart. I think it's a big loss for the Celtics, a bigger loss for the Celtics. At least you can expect Smart to be there at the end of the playoffs. Porzingis, maybe not, but hey, you got to try, right? They tried the old squad so many seasons, so it's a good change for them. What do you guys think the Grizzlies are better than the Kings, though?
Yeah, none of us
That's a good
mentioned the
point.
Kings.
No, right?
interesting.
It's the Kings. I don't think the Kings are better than the Grizzlies. On all honesty, they have a good progression. They still don't have any defense, and you're looking at a Domantas Sabonis who's not quite ready for prime time. We kind of saw that last playoffs. He's going to have to be the number 2 to De'Aaron Fox. And can De'Aaron Fox replicate what happened last year? I don't know. I really don't.
I would equate the Kings to the Cavs. I think they're both very similar in the pieces they have in terms of where they're at in regard to winning a chip.
Well, the Cavs are actually one of my teams for the East when we get there.
Up and comer for sure. Champion.
They've been, we know you and I have been following the Cavs a couple years ago before they got Allen. Right, we were looking at their dual point guard lineup, and now I think they're at that point this year with their additions. Yeah, they're interesting. I mean, they get some of those Heat players, Struss. They got LeVert signed. I just think they have a good team, Mobley, and they still have Allen and Garland, and Mitchell from last year, who gets a full year. I don't know, was it last year that he was traded or the year before?
I believe it was last year.
I think it was last year, and he bought out.
So yeah. So you get a whole year with him as well.
They were
20
the contender to Boston when we get to
I don't.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
FTC, Matt. I don't believe in Boston, but let's get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. David, what are your thoughts on the Kings since you did bring them up?
I just think they had an exciting ending last season, so I think anything's possible. It's pretty open. I feel like outside of the top 3 teams that we talk about, which is Suns, Lakers, it's the other team.
Suns, Lakers, and Nuggets. Yeah, the Nuggets, even though they won the championship, also very forgettable.
Yeah.
The last team, like I guess the last team we want to talk about too is the Clippers. Since this is LA, Ganz, any thoughts on the Clippers potentially getting James Harden down the stretch? But with this team, with the 2 guys that probably can't play, that have a difficult time getting on the floor with Russell Westbrook with a full season now, Ganz, what do you think about the Clippers?
Well, I just saw that there was an update an hour ago. I last I saw that it wasn't going to happen. And with that being said, if Harden didn't report to camp, he wasn't going to get paid. So I don't. Yeah, it's saying it's no longer a feasible option. So Harden's not going to go there. And Harden would be like, a Hail Mary. I mean, what would make him different? Yeah, it is something different, but nothing's shown that he would. I've been a fan of Harden, honestly, and he's just been disappointing year after year after year. So I think he's in a tough situation now. He may not get paid, may have to take the year off. I don't think the Clippers have enough. Their injuries have just proven that they can't. I mean, Kawhi's an issue. He's a cancer. I wouldn't want him on my team. I'd rather know what I have every day on the court than playing a guessing game. So with that being an issue, they're never going to be a contender in my eyes.
And they lost Eric Gordon. I think that's a big loss. I hate that guy as a Laker fan. Like, we know how much he tortures us on the Rockets and the Clippers. So that's a big loss. I think they didn't really replace that.
Yeah, David, what are your thoughts on the Clippers before we move on to the other conference?
Just get on paper every year. Get on paper. They either make it to the playoffs, but they always choke, or they're always injured. That's just the Clipper curse, if you want to call it that. It's real. It's really real.
Hey, is Montrez back on the Clippers? Am I seeing this right?
I don't believe so. I'll double check that. But
the third source I've checked, it says he's on the roster.
What?
They got him back. Congratulations.
They did?
But yeah, the Clippers are like the Chargers, the preseason champions, the offseason champions. They'll make it to the finals this year. No, it's not going to happen. Not for the Clippers, not for the Chargers.
I don't even think they were off-season champions this year. They were nothing.
I know, right?
They're going to be the Inglewood champions.
No, right? The bathroom champions. Let's move on to the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics are currently the favorites to win the championship this season per FanDuel Sportsbook. Many other betting sites have them at least as the favorites to get out of the Eastern Conference, maybe tied with Denver to win the championship. Are they right? Is FanDuel Sportsbook right? Or do you have them or do you have a team that you like better coming out of the East this season? Let's start with Rahul.
Absolutely, I have a team that I like better, and it's the team that actually won a championship from the East in 2021. So Middleton's back, Lopez is back. If Giannis wasn't injured, what are we really talking about, right, from the playoffs? Crowder re-signed, Robin Lopez, his brother, picked up as a backup to get the Twins on the same team. Malik Beasley from the Lakers, a three-point threat, opening the floor up. Hey,
is he the three-point threat though? Is he a three-point?
Well,
he was mostly cold. Jeez.
Hot and cold, but he's gonna get a lot of open looks with Giannis, right? Even more than with LeBron. I think so, at least, right? Baseline looks. And so, look, I think that's a solid team that's won together. And so to me, that has to be the favorite over a team that has not won together and that just did really, if you think about it, NBA 2K style move changes. Like, everybody was like, hey, you guys suck at offense. Okay, so we're just gonna completely rotate and get rid of Grant Williams and your defender, your primary best defender on your guards, and Marcus Smart, and then replace them with Porzingis, a health concern. Okay, you say he's better than he is defensively. I'll give you that. It depends on the year you look at Porzingis. Offensively, he's consistent. Sure, again, injury can play a role there, but does that really replace Grant Williams defensively and offensively? And who are you replacing Marcus Smart with? And then I don't really have that much faith in Brown or Tatum to step up. So I'm not sold on the Celtics. I would put the Bucks and then the Cavs. The Bucks would be the favorites to come out of the East. The Cavs are just my surprise, the team that would do better than probably expected.
Okay, I want to talk about the Cavs because that's going to be a thing. But the Bucks, David, Ganz, we heard last podcast on our basketball religion about the Bucks. I want you to state that again for this video podcast. But David, jump in here about the Bucks. Do you think they have a shot, or do you have another team outside of the Cavs or the Bucks to make it out of the East?
They're my favorites for the East. I'm not a believer in the Celtics either. They lost 2 key players, and I'm not a big believer in Porzingis. The unicorn, right? But he's more like a liability for me. He's already hurt, so there he goes. So there's no point of talking about that anymore. But the Milwaukee Bucks, they have the same core. Hopefully they stay healthy. They were looking good prior to Giannis getting hurt, so I think they'll take the East for sure.
All right, Ganz. We talked about it on our podcast, Basketball is Religion. The Bucks. Do you believe in the Bucks, or do you have another team?
I mean, like we discussed. So our discussion, just to be brief, was Giannis in the last 2 weeks has been on both 2 different podcasts, clarifying, saying if he likes Milwaukee and he can stay there, but if they're not competing for a championship, he's ready to go somewhere else. And he's not a player that moves around often or talks like that, but it was just coincidental that it was back to back on 2 different podcasts. He's definitely wants to win this year. So I'll say that. With that being said, I don't think that I think they have a very good team, but I don't think they're a championship powerhouse. And I think, just like we discussed, Matt, is that while they have what they have, I feel like they can get good trade assets to compete to be a chip team versus who they have now. Again, I see your guys' point. They have won a chip before. I just don't think, I think they had their opportunity. They won. And I just don't see them winning another championship with who they currently have, with some of their players getting a little bit older. I don't see it. But if you're asking me what team I do think, I don't want to say Boston, man, but and honestly, I'll tell you why. I think it's wide open, man. I'm not going to answer this because Jaylen Brown was he just sucked, dude. He had no handles in the playoffs. He lost his ability to dribble. And I don't know that they're quite big enough, even with Porzingis. I like the Bulls, but Lonzo's out. There's $20 million there. Can Zach LaVine and DeRozan with Vucevic make a run? Maybe. I don't think so. I just don't think the East is strong this year. So it's really open for anyone to get hot. Like a Miami Heat, I think it's open. I still like Maxey and Tobias Harris, and Embiid. That's a good team. Maxey's a baller. So I still like Atlanta. It's open for me. I don't think Boston's a defined winner from the East.
All right, Rahul, let's get into the Cavs now. I think you've been wanting to jump on the Cavs for a little bit. Let's see what you got on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, I think for me, it's just every year, I think that's a team that's a surprise. And they added 20, they're 51 and 31 or something like that. Like they're a solid team. And with Mitchell getting a full season and with Allen, I'm big on Allen. It's kind of like Wood, but Allen's a really skilled player as well as defensively. He's really good. Adding Marcus Struss and Karis LeVert, who shows signs of being a 20-point player, per game next to Mitchell as well. I think those are all great signings. So Mobley's another year in, and we know how great he is. So I really don't have any reason to doubt that they'll take even a next step together, just with that team. So I'm high on them. And quickly, like Philadelphia, to giving Maxey minutes instead of Harden, that's a good idea. Yeah, I agree. Getting him more play with because here's the thing, I believe in Harris. I think Harris should get more opportunity. He is clutch. He's not afraid to be clutch. J. Cole, he looks like J. Cole. I think he is definitely somebody who can be number 2. And I think Harden just needs to be removed from that and let those guys run it that way. And I think they'll be better than last year.
Well, I'll start off with the Sixers. I agree with everything everybody said. But the Harden thing, I feel like it's just up in there too. Harden went on record to say he'll never play for Daryl Morey. So yeah, I don't until they figure that out, I don't think they're gonna do much. And then the Cavs, I remember Ricky Rubio was doing very well for them early on before he got injured. So I know they started off with a good start last season. So when he got injured, that was a big thing for them. So they have a lot of potential with him coming back too.
Hey, David, I got a question for you. Being Lakewood, Bellflower, playing at Artesia Park, do you have any extra love for James Harden, being an Artesia guy?
Man, Artesia High is right down the street. I got love for the locals. You got to be a fan of James Harden, but his professionalism is kind of not there these last couple years. Just kind of leveraging different teams. How much can you really respect that? But as a basketball player in his history, yes, I'm a big fan.
So the Cavs, I'm not the biggest fan of the Cavs, especially after what happened last postseason. The Knicks beat them up, and that was supposed to be. I thought the Cavs are going to win that one, especially with Mitchell, but he got outplayed by Brunson badly. So he's gonna have to take a step up this season. Will that happen? I don't know. Especially with Jarrett Allen and Mobley had a great regular season defensively. Then what happened against Julius Randle and another guy that the Knicks have. So the Cavs, it's more of a prove it year. Mitchell's gonna have to be a superstar. He can't be outplayed by Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. That just can't happen. He has to get top 3. He has to dominate. Just hopefully that happens this season, and he doesn't flame out like he did in Utah. Let's move on to our last topic.
I got one.
Yeah.
I got one question. Do any
Sure.
of you guys know who the besides the Gilberts, who's the other owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers? He's an R&B singer. I'm just curious if any of you guys know.
Is it Usher?
It is Usher. Very good. Very good.
I'm actually surprised I knew that.
I didn't know that. I was shocked right now, but I guess
I don't know why I've seen him, around, but
Okay.
then maybe that was it. As part of kind of a new segment that we're doing and being more interactive with people online, we'll take some popular comments related to basketball news or current events and discuss it here, and then we'll tag that person in response to that comment to let them know that we did discuss it here. So it's a chance for people listening, actually people who've never heard of us, to hear us for the first time and interact right away with us. So I think it's a great way to build audience, and we look forward to interacting with everyone. So one of the posts that Matt will share on the stream is, who do you love more as Laker fans? So I think this is going to be a good one. The post was from, I'll give a shout out to Clutch Points. It's an Instagram account. You can see it. And who do the Lakers love more, Austin Reaves or Alex Caruso? And so, I was kind of combing through the comments, kind of forming my own opinion into who I really love more, because, and I see you guys doing the same. Somebody said, Brett Gross is his name with 3 S's. We love Reaves, but the bald eagle is more iconic. So what I want you to respond to that comment and what you think about that, but also just quickly give your opinion on the post itself. Who do you love more, Austin Reaves or Alex Caruso?
That one's hard because one's an actual champion. I'll have to say Austin Reaves because he has more potential. And then, he's the what do you call it?
He has plenty of nicknames
Billy,
now. AR-15, Lemon Daddy, Captain America.
Kobe.
Yeah,
Never heard Leonard.
Kobe Light. A lot of different
Hillbilly
nicknames.
Kobe. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Kobe.
Austin Reaves can take over a game. I mean, we've seen it in the playoffs. I don't think Alex Caruso ever did anything like that. He did some big shots and good on defense, but Austin Reaves, he's him.
I'm taking Caruso on this one. Caruso plays harder than he's one of those players that puts everything on the line. I'm not saying that Reaves doesn't, but Caruso just plays harder. Caruso does all the little fundamental things, the charges, the hustles, the diving. And I'm not hating on Reaves. His offensive style, he gets fouled a lot, right? It's very hard to nest back in the day. He gets to the line. But eventually, people are going to start scouting him, especially with exposure he got with FIBA. And you put one of your better defenders on him, I don't think that he's going to have the seasons he's been having. I hope he does. But for that reason, I take Caruso.
It's the offense versus defense thing, right? I think you all mentioned it. Caruso was the best point of attack defender in the league. Like, if you want to put a guard on, he'll lock down any guard the same way Drew Holiday does. That's what he brings. The fact that the Lakers didn't sign him for $9 million when we're signing everyone for $12 million plus now is a little bit nuts still 2 years later. I think I'm going to have to agree with the Ganz. I'm partial to defense, where Caruso was a much better defender, but I also agree with David where Austin Reaves does have has the bigger upside because his offensive game defense is not dying on screens when it comes to Austin Reaves. Plus, he has to get more physical. What we saw in FIBA was that he got posted up like crazy against Lithuania, so he's going to have to get a little bit stronger. Hopefully, he does that. But yeah, the bald eagle, Alex Caruso, I'll take him over Austin Reaves. What do you think, Rahul?
Yeah, I mean, I think Austin Reaves does all of those things that Caruso does as far as diving and taking charges, just not at the level that Caruso does them. But yeah, definitely agree with you guys on the impact that Caruso had, but I'm looking at it. Who do I love more? That's the question. It should be. I'm gonna go with Hillbilly Kobe, because that's awesome. But just because that's who I love more. I like Caruso. I loved Caruso, but man, watching him take over games is really fun. I think it's just offense or defense, right? So it's what you prefer.
Well, I think too, you still have LeBron and AD on the floor. So are they gonna have three great defenders defending all three at the same time?
That's
They're gonna
the
have to
point.
pick.
That's the point why he's good. If you put him on a team with scrubs, I guarantee you he won't do as well like other players do. They flourish, right? Like a Clarkson and the other players. Because he has AD and LeBron, it's almost like he fits like a puzzle because he's going to get the third or fourth best defender on him. But I guess we'll see what happens.
I think that's I think he's gonna keep getting calls. Okay, that's not gonna stop anytime soon. Like,
but you gotta admit
he
has the weaker defenders on him when he's getting the calls that make these idiotic mistakes. I give him he has the art of getting fouls. So yes, there is a talent to that. But
I would say, I agree with you that, I agree with you that next year teams will be on to him a little bit more, right? So they'll be ready, they'll game plan better for him, 100%. But I don't think that his capabilities are not able to step up to any level that he's challenged on. I do believe that, because I don't think, like, to your point, like when you say he's better now than it's like usually shooters get better around guys like LeBron and AD because they get open looks, but he's a playmaker. He can make plays on any team. But yes, he'll have the team's best defender on him. That's a good point. And so let's see how that works out. I think he can step up to the level.
I hope he does. I just feel he lacks a little bit of athleticism in the NBA. And that's fair.
That's fair, and I think he can hopefully grow there because he's still very young, but he's very young and very promising. And considering, so to me, I think he's definitely, obviously, if you're looking at, what's the potential, right? What's Alex Caruso's grade for potential? NBA 2K, this, right? His grade for potential is maybe a B or a B plus because of his offensive limitations. But Austin Reaves has a little bit has a decent amount of defense, but his growth up, it's like A plus. So that's why I'm looking at it.
All right, we got to get out of here. So let's do first time in a long time, last call. David, you're the newbie here. What is your last call? Anything you want to say before we leave today?
Just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to get on the podcast today, and hopefully, get back on here and talk more basketball with you guys.
Definitely. We loved having you on here. You did a great job. Thank you so much for joining us. Ganz, what's your last call?
Just happy to be back, guys. Happy to talk hoops. I wouldn't mind talking a little football, too. Congratulations to your guys' teams. The Cowboys are off to a 2-0 start. Chiefs came back and won pretty good 1-1. David, we don't know who your team is. I'm a Rams fan. I don't know where does your loyalty lie with the football team?
Colorado. Just kidding. Rams. I go for the locals. Go for the locals every time.
Rams, Chargers though.
Rams.
Oh,
just saying with me. Okay. I'm just saying.
All right, Earl. What is your last call?
That's it. I mean, I'm happy. This is the best time of the year. We're rounding into playoffs for baseball. I always say this is my favorite time of year. We get basketball's about to start, football's in full swing, and now we're back here on a weekly basis. So I'm really happy to have David as part of the team as well now. So just another perspective on all of our discussions. And I love to talk football more because I think I've kind of grown back into watching it more and more the last couple of years. Where I took like a year off in 2021. So it's kind of nice to be back into football as much as I am. So I'm happy. It'd be nice to discuss. Good timing, right? Cowboys have been winning the last few years.
100%. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate all the support. Like I said, we'll be more on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Find us all there. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the support. Thank you, David. Thank you, Ganz. Thank you, Rahul. We'll see you guys next time. The Hoop Bar is closed.